will be amended to establish the Coroner General's Office. The objective and aim of this amendment was to remove the burden of investigating suspicious and police action deaths from regular police channels and DCI. Further, the amendment of the Act was aimed at removing potential conflict of interest and ensuring absolute transparency in handling and explaining deaths, enforced disappearances, or fatalities resulting from the law enforcement operations. 4 years later, this promise has not been fulfilled. National Coroner Service Amendment Bill 2026 was officially published in the Kenya Gazette on April 16, 2026, and received by the Directorate of Legal Services in July 2026. It is currently at the introduction and pre-reading stage in the National Assembly, awaiting formal first reading and committal to the relevant departmental committee. Mr. William Ruto has also facilitated acts of transnational repression against foreigners in Kenya. More specifically, on July 24, 2024, 36 Ugandans, members of a Ugandan opposition political party, as part of a joint Kenya-Ugandan security agency operation, and were forcibly returned to Uganda. On October 18, 2024, 7 Turkish asylum seekers were abducted in Nairobi by masked men. Kenya later confirmed it forcibly deported 4 of them to Turkey in a joint security operation, citing bilateral ties, drawing severe condemnation from the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and Human Rights. On November 16, 2024, Kizza Besigye, leader of another Ugandan opposition party, was kidnapped by Ugandan agents while visiting Nairobi. Kenya government officials claimed they were unaware of the abduction, but the Ugandan authorities maintained it was a coordinated action between the two governments. Tanzania journalist and human rights activist Maria Sarangi was on Sunday, 12 January 2025, almost abducted here in Nairobi. Prominent Zimbabwean constitutional lawyer and human rights defender Brian Kagoro was detained and deported from Kenya on February 22, 2026. Intercepted by immigration and national intelligence officers at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi, he was held for over 10 hours and subsequently put on a flight back to Johannesburg, South Africa. In March 2026, 2 officials from the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation were deported from Kenya amid a high-stakes dispute that arose in Kenya shillings 30 billion Kenya Railway city tender. Upon seeking a statutory review of the procurement process, William Ruto and Kipchumba Murkomen deported the complainants' local agents, clearing the way for their preferred entity, China Road and Bridge Corporation, CRBC, a company that has bagged procurement tenders worth 1.2 Kenya trillion since 2022 when William Ruto came to power. China Road and Bridge Corporation is the international conduit for corrupt proceeds in Kenya under the personal and direct supervision of William Ruto. I must say Kenyans are not safe, our children are not safe, investors are not safe, tourists are not safe, no foreigner is safe. And I must say, foreigners, investors, tourists, your own security starts with you. I ask the members of our development partners and foreign embassies accredited to Kenya to ensure that their staff and citizens are safe within the boundaries of Kenya. On protecting the liberties enshrined in our Constitution, William Ruto has breached the freedom of expression in Article 33 and the freedom of media in Article 34, Constitution of Kenya 2010. On 26 June 2026, 4 police officers from the dreaded Killer Squad, armed with AK-47 assault rifles, attempted to abduct the Standard Group Nakuru-based associate editor, Mr. Alex Kiprotich. This attack is a defiance to truth and total on the freedom of media, as stipulated in Article 34 and 35 of our Constitution. In the last 4 years, several media houses, including the Nation Media Group, the Standard Media Group, Media Max Network, and several journalists were subjected to online campaign and disinformation campaign by the government of William Ruto. Reports show that 24 cases of violence towards journalists were recorded during the 2024 Gen Z protests. The Kenya Kwanza Covenant pledged to root out corruption, guarantee financial autonomy for key oversight bodies, and enforce Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya on leadership and integrity. Mr. William Ruto has broken this covenant to the people of Kenya and instead orchestrated outright plundering of the country's resources for his personal benefit and enrichment. On 31st December 2024, Mr. William Ruto was ranked as the second most corrupt president in the world by the Organized Crime and Reporting Project. Transparency International Corruption Perceptions Index ranked Kenya number 130 out of 108 countries globally, with a score of 30 out of 100, reflecting persistent stagnation and public mistrust. Mr. William Ruto's administration has entrenched corruption as a way of life, and it remains systematic, pervasive, and deeply rooted in public service delivery and high-level governance. Mr. William Ruto's Western Hotel has been the leading recipient of government hospitality and catering tenders, securing 37 public contracts valued at hundreds of millions for the period ending June 2026. Contracts have come from state corporations, state departments, and county assemblies. It is clear that William Ruto is in competition with local entrepreneurs, where he flexes his executive powers and gives priority registration that enriches himself and his cronies at the expense of other hardworking Kenyans. I want to bring to the attention of the people of Kenya some of the biggest scandals that we have witnessed in the last 4 years. In the current financial year, State House budget has grown from Kenya shillings 8 billion to 18 billion Kenya shillings, an increment of over 10 billion Kenya shillings. These are the funds that are used to bribe the people of Kenya. And lately, sheikhs, private security officers, village elders, teachers, chiefs, etc. Under the eCitizen, a special audit report by the Office of the Auditor General exposed major financial and governance weaknesses, noting that over Kenya shillings 11 billion in collections lacking